We arrived in Shkoder after about 2 months of traveling through Europe and decided to go for a little Instagram mission, took some photos of the locals and walked around. And we walked past a school, and in the school was just heaps of these school kids. It was about 5 o'clock, so they'd all finished and they're just kind of hanging out in there. It didn't take long for them to start following us around. One of the kids was pretty funny. He kept trying to offer us grapefruit, and he didn't speak any English, and his name was Yanni, we'd later learn. He insisted on showing us the inner city of Shkoder. After showing us around, we gave him our Instagrams, and the next day he messaged us.
So Yanni invited me over to lunch at his grandma's place after I had a little coffee with his uncle. I never really understood what he was saying. We communicated using gestures. So I met Yanni's grandma, and she was telling me about how I reminded her of Alex, except she couldn't speak a word of English, so she would speak to me for a minute in Albanian, really exaggerated, and she was crying. So when I left Albania, me and Yanni were following each other on Instagram, and I sometimes get calls from Yanni, and it's just his grandma smiling into the camera for 20 minutes, and it's really interesting.
So with the footage that Baz shot, there was lots of day in the life type stuff. Because there was so much footage, I had to sway away from my original plan of the edit, which was to just kind of make it a day in the life kind of thing, try find something more. So the editing process was a lot of fun. I was quite inspired by the story of Yanni's brother, Alex. He had left Albania 2 years beforehand and hadn't returned, and how that impacted his grandmother, and how she was thinking Baz was the reincarnation of Yanni's brother. I thought that was really sweet. So I wanted to try and cut that in there. Obviously, I couldn't get any voiceover to try and explain the story more, but hopefully you can derive some kind of story from the edit. We didn't get any shots of us using the RØDE mic during the production because we only had this one camera, but we used this for the sound design, for the behind the scenes, for everything.